Hello friends, welcome to my channel Hima Education Made Easy. In our previous video, we have seen what is class and how to create a class. Then we have seen how to define a function inside a class. And then we moved towards creating an object and calling the functions whatever we have created inside a class. Now we'll be going with inheritance. Okay. So inheritance is nothing but the rights or properties or anything which can be taken from our elder generation is known as inheritance. Let me say an example that so here my father is having a home, so it's my home too. So here I'm inheriting from my father. This is what inheritance means in simple words. So here inheritance allows us to define a class that inherits all the methods and properties from a parent class. Okay, so here what is parent class? We need to know. So the thing what we define at first will be called taking it as a parent class, and suppose a similar class I'm going to define it at the bottom of this statement, so that here I'll be able to see one more class, but we are not calling it as a child class until and unless it inherits all the functions which are defined in it to the next function. So that we'll be calling it as a parent class, and the next class which is inheriting the properties from the previous class is known as child class. So in order to understand that thing, we'll go with a simple example. So here I'm removing this class name, so I'm replacing with person. Okay, so here I'm going to define a init function over here in which I'm going to have in person. For every person we'll be having first name, so here I'm going to take it as S name, and we'll also be having L name, so there is a last name. Okay, and then in this I'm going to define self dot f name as f name, and self dot l name as l name. Okay, and then here I want to define one more function where I need to print name. Okay, so for that purpose I'm going to take it as print name itself, and then I will, whenever I call this function, I need to have an output of my name gets printed. Okay, so here for that purpose self dot first I want to call first name, so I'm going to take it and then I'm going to call last name, that is self dot l name. Okay, whenever I call this function, I need to get an output of this thing. So now I'm going to define an object x as person of, in which I first name is nothing but Sudarshan, and last name is G. I can say that. Okay, so here I want to call this one x dot. So this function I'm going to call it, so that I'll be able to see Sudarshan G, right? So now we are going to create a child class. Okay, so now in order to create a class, a child class or parent class, anything, we need to define, we need to use a keyword class at first, and then so in this persons we will be having students also, students of. So in order to inherit properties from any class, we need to mention that class in braces of the inheriting the class. Okay, so here I'm going to define person in it, and then simply I'm going to use a pass statement, because with this pass keyword is used when we don't want to add any other properties or methods in this class. Okay, so in order to understand a simple thing, we are going to use this one, and then here we are going to call the things. Okay, so here I'm going to take it as y is equal to students of Ram as his first name, and his last name is K will be saying it as, and then we are going to call y dot print name. This function I am going to call. Okay, so here I can see ram dot k. The from parent class we are going to inherit it. So whether it's really working or not, we'll be seeing now. So here I'm going to remove this person, and here I can see that this name, this function isn't being called. Okay, students take no arguments. Okay, so here we are not having any such thing as students in this particular class of students. Okay, so when we go with this persons, so at that particular from that particular instance itself, it starts to inherit from the parent class. This is what we are going to we have seen it. Okay, and then here so far we have created a child class that inherits the properties and methods from its parent. And now we want to add an init function to the child class itself instead of using this pass keyword. So here instead of using this pass keyword, we want to define something called init function. Okay. So here the init function is called automatically every time the class is being used or used to create a new object. Okay, so here I'm going to define some init function in the child class also. In this, I want to define. Here also I want to give the same thing: f name, comma l name. Okay, and then here after defining function, I need to go with the thing. So here I'm going with person. Okay, and dot init of self. Okay, init of self, comma f name, comma l name. Okay, so here whenever we are going to take these parent class in this function, so here we are going to define an init function and we are going to add or draw the elements from parent class. For that purpose, we need to use a person, that is a class name, and that init function we are going to drag it over there from there. So here we can see here if we remove this statement, so these names will not get highlighted because these aren't in use. Whenever we call this function into it, these names will get automatically highlighted because these are inherited from parent class. This is what we are going to understand from here. So instead of using simple pass keyword and inheriting from previous statements, we can use this one also. Okay. This means we have successfully added an init function and kept the inheritance of the parent class, and we are ready to add functionally in this init function. So now we are going to use a super function. So instead of using this person dot right everything, Python also has a super function that will make the child class inherit all the methods and properties from its parents. Okay, so here instead of using everything, we can use this thing. Okay, super of student, comma, sorry, it isn't the case. So here I mistakenly taken this. So here we need to have super dot init function, super of dot init So in it we need to define f name comma l name. Okay, this is how we can call this function by using super function. We do not have to use the name of the parent element, and it will automatically inherit the methods and properties from its parent. Okay, so here I want to add one more thing, that is self dot graduation year as 2017, sorry, 2016. I want to enter it, and we can see that here I want to go with already we have called a function, right? So now I want to go with print of y dot graduation year. I want to print it. So here now I'll be able to see that Ram K is graduated in year 2016. This is how we can add properties to these classes. Okay, and then we can give here year also. It will get added to this self dot graduation year hash year, and then here we'll be getting one more variable, that is 2016. So here I want to add a year, so that in init function itself I'm going to add a year, so that there won't be any error over here. And then here if I go with this one, I'll be able to get 2016. So here this one is taken from over here. So here this one is an function defined argument. And then we are having add methods. Okay, so add method called welcome, and welcome to the student class, we are going to add it over here. So in that case so in order to do that we need to define one more function. So for that purpose I'm going to define a welcome function. So the name I'm going to give it as an welcome, and then this one will automatically take self as an interior its parameter, and then here I'm going to have a print statement of welcome comma self dot f name comma self dot l name comma to the class of self dot graduation year. So here whenever I call the function like this welcome, it has to automatically take whatever the number of objects I'm going to give, those many objects I need to get printed over here. So here I'm going to define one more object like z is equal to students of um, students of Krish, and his second name is last name is R, and his batch is also 2016. Graduation year is also 2016. And then here I'm going to call this function at last. Okay, so here I want to call this function, that is y dot welcome function, and then z dot welcome function, and then if I run it, what output will I be able to get is so here self dot graduation here is an invalid syntax. So why? Because here we haven't given a comma. Okay. So here now if we run it, we'll be able to see that welcome Ram K to the class 2016, and second object which we have defined it as Krish. Okay, it will be giving us this one as an output. So here, if you add a method in the class, so that is in child class with the same name as a function in the parent class, the inheritance of a parent method will be overwritten. Okay. So here, if you are going to take the same function, so here define self this one. So here we'll see like here I'm going to copy, and here I'm going to use the same function over here with the same name. I'm going to use it. So here it will get overwritten. Okay, so it will get, oh sorry, indentation error, and this one also, right? So it will get overwritten. So here I'm going to add, in order to identify that, I'm going to write something called, I'm going to add this one string over here. Now I'll be calling this function also. Okay, so here I'm going to call the function name with the help of that one. So print name function I'm going to call. So indentation error is there. Okay, so okay. Now if I run it, so here I'll be able to see that this thing, so this child class function is being called instead of calling that parent class. Now we'll delete this one and we'll see which function will get called. Okay, Ram K. So which is there in parent class only got called, not the child class. Okay, so here if we undo it again, and if we see now, we'll be able to see that the different differential term, that is something we have added at the last of this thing, that's being called. This is how the inheritance will work. With this, I will be winding up the video. If you like the video, please do like, share and subscribe. Thank you.